From. Speaking with Ashley. Speaking with her. That's all. Good evening, everyone. It's the regular monthly meeting of the Municipality of the County of Colchester, Municipal Council, September 25, 2025. And I'm going to ask our CAO for roll call, please.
Thank you very much. So we will start with the chair, Mayor Bliss.
Present.
Councillor Weatherby.
Present.
Councillor Sanderson. Present. Councillor Richardson.
Present.
Councillor Cooper.
Present.
Councillor Johnson.
Present.
Councillor Leggett.
Present.
Councillor Martell.
Present.
Councillor Patton.
Present.
Councillor Benoit.
Present.
Councillor Fletcher.
Present.
Councillor Kennedy.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you. In peace and friendship and in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, I acknowledge that the Municipality of Colchester is in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. Councillors, you have a copy of an agenda before you. Are there any additions or deletions to that agenda? CAO, please.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. So a couple of recommended suggestions, changes to the agenda. First, item 8, on the agenda, we'd like to move to after in camera. And then we would like to add 3 items to in camera, one being a legal matter, one being negotiation, and one being a personnel matter.
Okay, so then number 8 moves down to number 16. Correct?
8, well, we would,
We would change it to number 16. Is
Right.
that what you want?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
and then we will have 3 other items within.
All right.
the camera.
In camera, number 17 is negotiations. Number 18 is personnel.
So negotiation personnel.
Legal, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. Number 8 would be after number 18.
Yes.
So we have legal, number 16, negotiations, number 17, personnel, number 18, and number 8 has been moved down to after number 18 in camera. Are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda? Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would like to add under information 2025 Stampede, Nova Scotia Stampede.
14A, 2025 Stampede.
And legal matter under income, please.
So number 19, legal. Any other additions or deletions? Then I'm prepared to accept a motion that the agenda be accepted as amended. Moved by Councillor Richardson, seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Any discussion on the motion? The question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. The agenda is approved as amended. The next item is approval of minutes from the meeting held on August 28, 2025. I'm prepared to entertain a motion with regards to those minutes. Moved by Councillor Weatherby, the minutes be accepted as presented, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Discussion on the motion?
Question.
Seeing none, the question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Is there any business arising from those minutes? I see no hands, so we shall move on to our standing committee reports and recommendations. And the first report is on our audit committee meeting held on September 16, 2025. And the presentation of financial statements, the audit committee recommendation was passed by the audit committee that the 2024-25 consolidated financial statements be accepted and that the audit committee recommends to council that the statements be approved. I shall ask for a motion on that, and I'll ask our deputy mayor, please. Short presentation first. All right. Then I shall ask our Director of Corporate Services, Scott, if you would do a short presentation on this before we put a motion on the floor, please.
Thanks, Your Worship. Just a brief presentation for council on this. We did meet with the auditors and the audit committee, and for council's information, we did receive a clean audit report, so that means that the auditors are comfortable that the statements fairly represent the financial position of the municipality for the year ending March 31st, 2025. In terms of the statements themselves, on page 3 of the statements, you'll see the consolidated statement of operations and surplus. That's typically what a lot of people may know as an income statement. And municipality generated revenue last year of 63.4 million. That compared to a budget of 60.5 and a prior year of 54.3. So notable of that, you know, like any municipality, taxes are generally the largest contributor to revenue. We did have 39 million in tax revenue compared to 38.5 million budgeted. On the expenditures, we had total expenditures for the year of 55.1 million. That compared to a budget of 57.3 and a prior year of 48.1. In terms of the annual surplus that left us with, we did produce a surplus of just shy of $8.4 million compared to a budget of 3.3 and prior year of 6.1. So the way this typically works is there's when you have a surplus, you also have an accumulated surplus, which is the accumulation of your surpluses and deficits over time. Our accumulated surplus starting the year was 123.7 million. Then we brought in the surplus this year of 8.4, and that left us with a closing financial picture of an accumulated surplus of 132.1 million. Now, I will say statements that are presented are in accordance with public sector accounting principles, so they're a consolidated statement. And what that means is we consolidate different funds, such as your capital fund, your reserves, your operating, and then also government entities that we have a controlling stake in. So your rec board and TCPEP are also consolidated into that, as well as your 2 water utilities. So why I say that is because although it shows an accumulated surplus at the end of 132.1 million, it is broken out into different categories. So as an example, you have 24.6 million of that belongs to your reserve fund. Your capital fund is 88.4 million. Essentially, that's the capital assets that we own and the value of equity we hold in those. So all the assets such as the sidewalks, streets, the bale fill, wastewater treatment, the equity that we have in that fund closes at 88.4 million. So you know, those are tangible, physical things. They're not necessarily cash in the bank. The general operating fund, so that's where all our revenue and expenditures flow through for operations. So things like operating departments and administration. We had a surplus, an accumulated surplus in there of 13.8 million. Then on page 4, the next statement I would just draw your attention to is the consolidated statement of financial position. Commonly known as the balance sheet. And in this one, we had financial assets that totaled 64.5 million. So again, that's things like your cash, your receivables from taxes, and any investments we might have. So 64.5 million, up from 55.6 in the prior year. Our liabilities, financial liabilities, so those are things that we typically owe for. Our net, our total financial liabilities was 49 million for the year, up from 43.5 in the prior year. So with public sector bodies, we typically separate the financial assets and liabilities. And then we come up with a net financial asset. So on the bottom of that page, you'll see where we have a net financial asset of 15.4 million, up from 12.1. I draw your attention to that because that's anytime you see an increase in that number, it's typically a sign of positive financial results. Some of the smaller municipalities in the province, if you were to look at their statements, you would probably see net financial liability, which means they owe more than their current financial assets would cover. So it's a good position to be in. Then on page 5, the second page of the balance sheet, the non-financial assets are broken out, and that's typically your tangible capital assets. So your physical things like streets, sidewalks, water utility, wastewater collection, sewer treatment plant. They have a book value of 253.7 million. That's up from 243 million in the prior year. We take off of that amortization, so that's the use that they incur every year is expensed. So they do deplete in value as they're used. So the net value of those assets is 113.3 million compared to 108.7 in the prior year. Then there's a couple of other smaller non-financial assets. We have prepaids of 465,000 compared to 376 in the prior year, and a land inventory that's available for future sale in Debert, 2.8 million versus 2.5 in the prior year. And when you take all the assets and you deduct the liabilities, you get the 132 million that we talked about on the first page. So the two statements tie together. So those are the financial results for the year. I won't go through the whole report. It does take a while to go through, as the audit committee can attest to. But if anyone has any questions throughout the year or after reviewing it, they can always reach out to me and make an inquiry if they feel interested to do so. That's my report, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Scott. Does anyone have any questions of our Director of Corporate Services, Councillor Cooper? I'm sorry. Yes, I guess we should. Motion first, Deputy Mayor, please. For this
Sure.
report, please.
I would move that the 2024-25 consolidated financial statements be accepted and that the audit committee recommends to council that the statements be approved.
The second motion, please. The one after discussion? Yes. The follow-up motion? That was the recommendation from the committee. We need a motion to accept the
gotcha.
statements.
Sorry.
You'll see that on the
Yep.
second part there.
Okay, I move that council accepts and adopts the 24-25 consolidated financial statements as prepared by Doan Grant Thornton, and that the mayor and CAO be authorized to sign the necessary documentation relative to the 24-25 consolidated financial statements.
Thank you. And Councillor Cooper, you were seconding that motion? Seconded by Councillor Johnson. And discussion on the motion, Councillor Cooper.
Good for you to discuss.
Please, absolutely, yes.
Couple of questions.
All right.
In the notes, Scott, note 2, taxes receivable. I noticed that balance keeps going up every year and every year. Is there a point that is that an issue at some point, or?
Not so much. It's it's kind of indicative of the fact that, property values increase, so it's not a case so much that there's more, I wouldn't say there's more cases of unpaid taxes, it's just that, tax values do go up over time, so.
Right, it's always,
Yeah, so that's kind of what it is. I don't, when I look at the ratio, I don't see it spiking significantly, and we do go through a tax sale process as well, so that keeps the arrears from kind of getting out of control.
okay, another question, please.
Yes, of course.
Under notes 12, commitments. Third paragraph. I'm just trying to get to remember what that was all about. You know, at the bottom there, it says the province is aware of the delays in the project and the funding has not been recalled. Okay, what funding was that? I can't remember what the status of that whole thing was.
Yes, Scott, please.
Okay, you're talking about the divert business park
Right, yeah.
funding? Right, so that goes back a number of years to, I think 2008 is when the park was transferred over.
Right.
So there was a couple of funds that were provided to us at that time for infrastructure. There's no concern that those would be recalled. The funds were there and they're budgeted for in our capital budget to
So
be
the
used.
ones where you're supposed to use to do these other things, but
That's
just
right.
haven't got to those yet.
There's still some funds there. We've used some of it, but there is still some remaining in the sale of homes fund and the business park fund.
Yeah, so that's was another question. They haven't been coming to us and saying.
No, they've probably forgotten about it, and whoever issued the check probably retired long ago.
That's true.
All right, I'll thank you.
Counselor, are there any other questions from council? Hearing none, are you ready for the question? Question's been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Scott. The next item on the agenda is the report and recommendation of council committee, and I'll ask Deputy Mayor Sanderson to address these, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item, fire dispatch services contract extension. I move that council approves that the municipality enter a 2-year extension with Valley Communications, Inc. to provide fire dispatch services for a total price of $215,453.73, excluding taxes.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Weatherby. Discussion on the motion?
Before you do, I believe there was some conflicts we declared.
Okay, yes. Would you please make note that Councillor Richardson has recused himself, Councillor Fletcher has recused herself?
I don't see that we're in conflict because there's no gain to us in this one, but anyways. Like, there's no
Perceived.
monetary value to us.
Perceived, Councillor.
Be nice to be constable.
And Councillor Leggett has recused himself from this discussion. Any discussion on the motion?
Question?
Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Councillors, would you please come back? Seats. And Deputy Mayor Sanderson, please.
Thank you. The Tatamagouche Water Utility Committee terms of reference, and I just want to make a comment about this before I make the motion. At our last meeting, we talked about the terms of reference for the divert water utility, and it was we were talking about the opportunity to have, in terms of membership, deputy or alternate, because we had an interest from Councillor Leggett in being on the divert water utility committee. I think it may have been our solicitor that said, you want to kind of replicate that, the Tatamagouche Water Utility Committee terms of reference, and we didn't formally make a motion to that effect, that we would it would be the deputy or alternate for the Tatamagouche. If it's agreeable and we want to keep the two terms of reference similar, or have that item in the terms of reference, deputy or alternate for both of those water utility committees. I would simply just make the motion that we adopt those as amended. Does that
As
make
opposed
sense
to
to everybody?
presented.
So that both of those terms of reference are the same. It's deputy or alternate under the terms of reference. Make sense?
Councillors?
I've seen nods.
Does
So-
everyone agree with that? Is there anyone who disagrees with that suggestion to be consistent to the terms of reference?
Okay,
I
well-
hear nothing. I see no hands or
Okay, well, I'll
hear no
carry on with the
questions. So
motion then.
please do.
That council approves that the proposed terms of reference for the Tatamagouche Water Utility Committee be adopted as amended.
And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martel. Thank you. Discussion on the motion? Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. And Deputy Mayor, please.
This is the Divert Water Utility Committee terms of reference that council approves that a Divert Water Utility Committee be established and that the proposed terms of reference for the Divert Water Utility Committee be adopted as amended. I so move.
And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Benoit. Discussion on the motion? The question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. The Tatamagouche Water Utility 3-year operating budget. I move that council approves the 3-year Tatamagouche Water Utility operating budget for 25, 26, 26, 27, and 27, 28 as presented.
And seconder, seconded by Councillor Martel. Discussion on the motion? Are you ready? The question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Deputy Mayor.
The Divert Water Utility 3-year operating budget. I move that council approves 3-year Divert Water Utility operating budget for 25, 26, 26, 27, and 27, 28 as presented.
And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Benoit. Discussion on the motion. You ready for the question? The question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. The next item, Deputy Mayor, please.
Rec financial requests. I move that council approves the purchase of the new chiller unit in the amount of $320,630, with funds being from the Rec Capital Reserve.
And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Weatherby. Discussion on the motion? The question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Deputy Mayor, please.
Personnel, non-union employee salary review. I move that council adopts the amended non-union salary scales as outlined in closed session on September 11th, 2025.
And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Discussion on the motion? Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Thank you, Deputy. The next item is the Tatamagouche Water Utility Committee minutes of August 27, 2025. This is an item that we may put a motion on the floor to accept for information. Moved by Councillor Weatherby. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martel. Any discussion on the motion? Does anyone have any questions of these minutes or what we have been talking about? Then I'm prepared to entertain a question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. I was going to ask for another motion. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. The next item is the Flood Advisory Committee, the minutes of September 2, 2025. And I'm prepared to obtain a motion with regards to those minutes. Moved by Councillor Patton, the minutes be accepted as presented, seconded by Councillor Cooper. Discussion on the motion? Ready for the question? Question's been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. The minutes of the Flood Advisory Committee, September 2, 2025, are accepted as presented. Moving on to our action items. The first is the Truro Curling Club Revitalization Project. And I'm going to ask our Manager of Recreation, Craig, to discuss this, please, to address it.
Good evening, Council, Madam Chair. In front of you, you have an action item for the Truro Curling Club Revitalization Plan. Council did receive a package in August 28th, and they sent it back to staff for review. Just to highlight a few things, the Curling Club is in sort of an urgent position right now with the ice making infrastructure and suffered a number of weeks of lost curling last year. They hired a company, IB Story, to do a detailed analysis of the plant and the floor and some stuff. And some of the recommendations that came back is the current situation and plant is not viable for a long-term future of the curling club, and the location of that plant is not ideal in the basement. So the curling club has looked at putting an off building at the back of the site. So they reached into a contract, and Ivy Story helped them, and Bird Construction was hired to help facilitate the plant. In the spring as well, they received a grant from the province of $500,000 towards that project. The total project is around $700,000 with the construction of the small building out back and the plant. For a timeline, the plant will not be here for the start of the curling season. The plan right now is to switch the plant over in November, and everything is hooked up, the valves and the piping is all currently done right now. The older plant had some minor repairs to it, and it's not a situation that potentially not going to be a long-term fix, but we feel that the club will be able to start up the ice and limp through until we get to November with the current situation. Like I said, the 700,000, there is a committee that is struck to raise an additional 200,000. As noted in the action item, the town of Truro did support the project of $20,000, which was made the curling club rather happy, and with the provincial grant of 500,000. We've also started a national trust fund where people can make direct donations through that trust fund and get a taxable receipt through that. And that was started in July of this year, and there has been significant dollars put towards that as well. And in the package, there are a number of different sponsor opportunities. So currently, as of about yesterday, the club is sitting at about 50 or 60,000 through donations, as well as there is a betterment fund, which they, at the semi-annual meeting, they made a motion to access that betterment fund of 88,000 if the fundraising committee couldn't meet their goal of 200,000. So there is a few options that council can certainly consider. Supporting the request of 15,000, which was in the request for the proposal that you took a look at in the 28th portion of the request. You may not want to support the club, or we can bring them in for a presentation. Talking to Scott, there was some approximately $70,000 in the budget for nonprofit that was unused. So this 15,000 would be an unbudgeted item that would be in front of council to consider. So I would like to offer it up council for questions and comments, and I'll try and answer them as best as I can.
Thank you very much. I'm prepared to entertain a motion with regards to this item. Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to speak on it also, but council approved the request for the Truro Curling Club in the amount of $15,000 for its capital revitalization project.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Benoit. And discussion on the motion, Councillor Johnson.
So I was also told once we do this, or once they do that, they have to go and do something to pipes in the floor, put another floor over what's there possibly. Is that possibly true, Craig, for the next step?
It was identified at IB Story. There's a couple issues on the floor, but having a new plant and cleaning the pipes out, which they're currently doing, could alleviate that problem, but we're not gonna, the plan is not to dig up the floor. Is to put piping over it, but that is phase two. That could be 4, 5, 10 years down the road, depending on the situation with the plant. But the goal is right now to get the plant, to get the ice, we can still play on the floor.
So I understand, the reason I asked is I've been involved with cleaning the pipes because of that floor and it didn't go very well, so. we
Yeah.
had to shut it down.
Ice 4.
Yes, exactly.
Any further questions? And the question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Craig. The next item on the agenda is the deer feeding bylaw second reading. And I'm going to ask Devin Trefry to address this, please.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. So yes, we're considering second reading of the deer feeding bylaw. Feeding of deer has been identified as one of the contributing factors to the growing population in urban areas. The increased population has contributed to motor vehicle collisions, damage to gardens and property, and health concerns such as Lyme disease resulting from an increase in ticks. Over the past number of years, council and staff, in partnership with Department of Natural Resources, Village of Bible Hill, and Town of Truro, have been attempting to address the growing urban deer population in the county. And the Department of Natural Resources had actually recommended introducing such a bylaw as a step towards consideration of a managed urban hunt in the future, and also a way just to help address the growing population. So the bylaw is intended as a tool to help deter the feeding of deer and is obviously not a cure-all solution. Enforcement will typically begin with a simple letter informing of the bylaw and explaining why it exists. So those who perhaps go against or are perhaps reportedly feeding deer, we'd explain that this bylaw exists and explain why, and hopefully that will deter most of the behavior. Further enforcement for more extreme repeat offenders will be reliant on the municipality's existing bylaw enforcement staff. So additional bylaw enforcement staff may be required in future, just depending on compliance. At council's August 2025 meeting, you had considered and approved first reading of this bylaw. Advertising of second reading was done on the municipal website in accordance with the Municipal Government Act. We have received no, this was at the time of writing this item, no feedback was received from the public, and to my knowledge, no further feedback has been received since this item was written. So we basically have two options to consider: either approve second reading as presented, or council could choose to make amendments to the bylaw. However, any substantive changes would require restarting the process again with first and second readings. And just to consider future resource implications, as mentioned, enforcement of the bylaw may require additional resources in future. Yes, and the bylaw, just to, I guess, to reiterate from the last first reading, that we did seek sources from Department of Natural Resources, and our municipal solicitors also reviewed the bylaws presented. And I think that's it, in case there's any discussion or questions.
Thank you, Devin. I'm prepared to entertain a motion in regards to this bylaw. Someone. I thought I heard, yeah. Oh, yes, I do know that. Yes, I know, but I thought I heard a microphone. Yes, yes. Councillor Johnson, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I can approve it. So council approves of by way of second reading of chapter 60 deer feeding bylaw.
And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martel. Discussion on the motion?
Question.
Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a quick question for Devin. Who reports and how do they report? Is it going to be similar to Davis and Unsightly where they're confidential?
Devin, please.
Yes, well, typically, oftentimes in a case like this, the callers end up finding their way through to me to simply where staff typically know that I was involved in the formation of the bylaw, but yeah, usually when things are reported, they're kept confidential as far as who's making the report. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess I'm asking, is it a written report of something, or are you accepting any form?
I'm going to ask our solicitor, Dennis, please.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. This is not the same process as dangerous and unsightly, because ultimately if someone resisted the ticket, you'd have to go to court to prove it. And unless staff witnessed it, whoever witnessed it would have to be called as a witness to prove it. So it's more complicated than dangerous and unsightly, where inspectors making it, going out and looking at a dilapidated building. In this case, the essence of the bylaw is someone leaving food out or intentionally feeding. If staff's not there to see it themselves, the independent witness would have to prove it. So it's not, someone couldn't be assured of confidentiality in the same way.
Thank you. And Councillor Cooper.
Yeah. Through to Devin, please.
Yes.
So Devin, I can appreciate Councillor Patton's question, because similar to the slightly and dangerous bylaw, it's a lot of times it's I'm the next door neighbor and this one doesn't like me, and good chance of them reporting me for something or wanting to give you a hard time. Nothing easier to give you a hard time. There's putting bird food out, where they're doing this, they're just putting something there. So my question is, I mentioned, I saw it was on the agenda, so I mentioned it to a few people around Upper Stag, which it's kind of with their, the full attention of this, but it's still gonna affect them anyway. No one had any idea it was being in the work, so after this is presumably passed, how are we gonna put it there for everybody so everybody knows about it?
Devin, please.
sure. Through the chair. So essentially, usually we would post this within our newsletters and social media and our usual communication channels within the municipality. And in some instances, once it's kind of out there a little bit, it's obviously not something that we're wanting to have neighbors turning on neighbors necessarily. Largely, we hope that it'll be just an educational process. We typically would receive the information, and if we had information, we would reach out to folks that maybe have been identified as perhaps offenders, and just kind of let them know of the situation that there's been a report, and just to let them know that there is a bylaw in existence, explain why it exists. Our hope is that the majority of situations will be addressed in that way. If there becomes significant issues, then I guess at that point in time we'd have to begin kind of if someone is insistent on reporting someone, I would assume we would have them collect perhaps evidence, or we would then perhaps go as far as perhaps having to collect evidence. But I really, the main intent, I believe, is to be a deterrent and to discourage the behavior through an educational process.
Yes, Councillor.
Through you to the CAO, please. So when this would go on the newsletter, and I guess I'll bring this up about most of things like this. When they're in the newsletter, are they put towards the front, like as new things that are happening, or? Because I know that anybody I've ever talked to about the newsletter, nobody reads the newsletter from cover to cover. So, yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, well, that'd be towards the front.
Councillor, CAO, please.
Thank you, through the chair. We really haven't discussed where it would go in the newsletter. Typically, we have quite a bit of flexibility on how we would design, so we can certainly keep your comments in mind.
Yeah, I just happen to think of it as seem to be thing for anything we really want people to be aware of that they be involved with. Be towards the front, because.
Okay.
I try to read it all. And most people don't, so.
Well, I don't know, if I would agree with most people don't, Counselor. I think that's, each of us looks at things
guess we should
from
look
his or
for
her,
talking,
his or her
yes.
own premise. All right, any further questions? I see no further questions. Are you ready for the question? Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded nay. The motion is carried unanimously. Moving on to the next item, as mentioned previously, number 8 has been moved to in camera. And the last item in camera. Number 9 is Hudson Road Housing. And I'm going to ask our Director of Public Works, Michelle, to address this, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The point or the purpose of this item is to seek council's direction on options for servicing land on Hudson Street in DeBert. As council is aware, the municipality does own a 40-acre lot on Hudson Street in DeBert, and it's been designated for residential housing. This lot in particular does not require additional archaeological work, and it is ready for development in its current state. In 2021, council and the DeBert Business Park Advisory Committee retained the services of Fathom to create a concept plan of how this lot could be developed residentially for different types of housing. And in January of 2022, the concept plan that's attached in your package was prepared by Fathom. It included the creation of about 600 units, and the cost estimate for constructing all the services within the lot was about $4 million at the time. And the purpose of developing this concept plan was then to try to market the lot, development community, to see if anybody would be willing to take on the development of the whole site. So in 2023, staff issued an request for expressions of interest to the development community for full development of this lot with the stipulated types of housing that were included in the concept plan. Only 2 responses were received, and neither of them met the development goals of the concept plan. And since 2023, we have had a handful of developers approach the municipality about this particular lot, but there's been no specific proposals submitted to purchase all of or a portion of this particular lot. And really based on the feedback from the development community is that the size of the lot itself is somewhat prohibitive and that it's a large parcel to take on. And the lack of internal servicing to the lot right now really prevents us from carving it off and selling it in different portions. So at one of their last meetings, council expressed an interest to move something ahead with residential development on this lot. And so staff have put forward an option to proceed with some work in the next year or so. As I mentioned, the challenge with this lot is that it has no internal servicing. Also, the concept plan that was prepared in 2022 really doesn't fit the ideal housing market for attainable housing at this point in time. It probably should be revisited. So one option to creating some residential development on Hudson is to extend sewer service up on Hudson Street itself. So right now we do have water services on Hudson. We have sewer services on Tracker, but not on Hudson. So essentially we're missing sewer servicing on the frontage of Hudson to open up some service lands there. And included in your package is a rough layout of what could happen along Hudson. Of course, this would all be subject to access approvals from TIR and whatnot, and but probably could carve off a handful of lots there and spur some development to get things going. Staff looked at the potential cost of extending the sewer up on Hudson. It's 500 meters, so it would be about $800,000 to do so. In council's approved capital budget that they reviewed in August, there is a line item there for $1 million for next fiscal year And it's simply called Divert Service Extensions, and it was added there as a placeholder to support some kind of residential housing development in Divert, and so the funds would be there to extend the services should council decide to do so. And a couple of options with that, we could, if council supports, we could extend the sewer up Hudson and then also revisit the concept plan at this point in time to create a more appropriate cross-section and assortment of housing there. Or council could elect to extend sewer services and just see what happens with developing the frontage off of Hudson Street and then seeing what kind of trends and what kind of demand is occurring from development of those lots. So what staff are recommending is that we do look at an extension of sewer services up Hudson Street using the divert service extension funds that are in the capital budget. And we're also recommending revisiting the concept plan as well. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'm prepared to entertain a motion with regards to this issue. Councillor Benoit.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. I'd like to make a motion and then speak if I may.
Yes.
That council approves the extension of sewer services on Hudson Street at an estimated cost of 800,000, and that the source of funds be the divert service extensions development growth funds as approved in council's capital budget, and that council directs staff retain the services of an external consultant to prepare an updated concept plan for the remaining unserviced areas of the Hudson Street lot.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Cooper. Discussion on the motion, Councillor Benoit.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. I just want to thank staff for bringing this forward so quickly after our discussions in the last while, as housing is a priority for council. I would like to ask that once staff do the external consultant to do an updated concept plan, if where we had spoken about this in, I think it was 23 when we did this, and we spoke with the community. There's been a lot of talk in the last couple of weeks about housing in Divert. So it would be really great if we could engage them again as we did in 23 and just give them an update as to what's happening, if that could be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Further discussion? Councillor Leggett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through to Public Works. Would this sewer line also open up the other side of the adjacent side of Hudson Street across the street, or is that under archaeological boundaries?
Director of Public Works, please.
Through the chair. So yes, it would open up lands on the north side of Hudson Street. And what staff are investigating now is what are the potential archaeological costs of clearing that side, because we would require archaeology, but also it could be more cost effective to do the archaeology and open the lands than it would be to add servicing within the existing, creating new servicing within the parcel. So we'll bring back.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor Weatherby.
Through the chair to Michelle, if I could, please. If we do an update of the study, would it be specified that the update would focus possibly on the ability to develop smaller sections of the land to make it more affordable for developers?
Michelle, please.
Through the chair, yes, that would be the intent, because what we've learned is we do need to chunk up that parcel and sell it off in smaller pieces.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Are you ready for the question? Question's been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Counter-minded nay. The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Michelle. The next item is the November presentation meeting date. And this is a housekeeping issue, and our CAO will address it.
Thank you very much, Mayor Blair. So this is a follow-up to give an update to council regarding the November presentations and looking for a decision regarding the date of that meeting. So the November presentations date is set for November 4th. However, the NSFM Fall Conference runs from the 4th to the 7th. And at the September council meeting, Council Cooper raised the issue that the conference date could cause some conflict. Staff were able to reach out to the presenters who were planned for November 4th, and both confirmed they had the capacity to move to November 3rd if council wished to move to that night. So council could change the presentation date from the 4th to the 3rd or remain status quo. Leave that for council's decision.
Thank you. I'm prepared to entertain a motion with regards to this. Councillor Weatherby.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would be prepared to make a motion that council approves changing the November presentation meeting from Tuesday, November 4th to Monday, November 3rd.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Discussion on the motion?
Question.
Question's been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is our action correspondence. The first item being an email dated August 28, 2025 from Bruce Beveridge for council for the Pictou requesting a letter of support for council for the Pictou Landing Community Solar Project in Newton Mills. Who's going to address that?
Just for direction, so.
Okay, we're looking for direction on this. I do see Joanna is here, so if anyone has any questions, I will ask her to come forward. Questions? Councillor Weatherby. Joanna, I'll ask you to come forward, please, and help us with this one. Appreciate it. Councillor Weatherby, you have a question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have two questions, Joanna, in particular. One is there a cost to the county to provide this?
Through the mayor, to you, Councillor. No, there wouldn't be. So this is proposed by a private solar developer in partnership with Pictou Landing First Nation.
Okay.
And what they're looking for from the county, because it's taking place, the development is taking place within our municipality. The Nova Scotia Community Solar Program requires that they get support from the local municipality.
Thank you. The second question is decommissioning. Is that being looked after? Because that would be a consideration. We're gonna get left with it if it's not looked after.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if that's, I think it's probably included in what they have to submit to the province for the community solar, but I'm not 100% sure. I can follow up with you, but.
Thank you. If you would, I think that's a big issue for us.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Leggett.
Madam,
Oh, just before Councillor Leggett, if please, Dennis, our solicitor.
In phase 4, it identifies decommissioning as a requirement, so assess the solar panels after 25 years, decommission project components and reclaim the site.
So that answers
Thank you.
that question. Thank you, Dennis. And Councillor Leggett,
thank you,
please.
Madam Chair, through to Joanna. Just curious as to why they're looking at solar. This piece of property, 100 acres in prime Muscatine Valley farmland, they want to cover up 55 acres of solar panels when 2 5-megawatt turbines would give them the same output and still have usable ground underneath it. I guess that's my only comment about the whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Joanna, any comment on that?
Yeah, sure. Through you,
Yes.
Mayor, to Councillor Leggett. There's an opportunity right now through the Nova Scotia Community Solar Program. So there's 100 megawatts of solar capacity that developers and municipalities are able to access basically through a power purchase agreement with the province. And it's the same program that we're hoping to go through with our community solar program. So this is one of several solar developers that we've kind of been hearing from that are looking for sites in the province. It's not typically affordable or feasible to just build a utility scale solar farm and like cell power to the utility, you have to pay their tariffs, and there's a lot of fees, but they've created this program specifically to encourage solar development. So this is one of many private developers that is trying to get a piece of that pie, and build around the province.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. And Councillor Cooper.
Yeah, thank you. I want to make questions. I was there for the public meeting that night. There was several people from Natural Forces there, and they were able to answer every question you put out. Those are two of the questions that I'd asked and got the answers for them. They actually asked if they could do it bigger, and they said no, they couldn't. There was some maximum capacity that could put on the line, so this is the biggest project they could do. Was asked about farming, was asked about, and I said, asked me if I'd seen the video of the solar panels and the sheep all around the show, the solar panels feeding. I actually had seen that one. He said, so that's one of the things about solar panels, you can have them and have livestock around them, things like that sort of thing, so. I was always told to me, so, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, they were, you know, with more than enough people there to answer every question, and they answered everything that we were asked. Everybody I talked to, they come out, were happy with what's told to them, so. Yeah, that's where I'm at on a public meeting, so.
That's great. Thank you,
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor. Deputy Mayor Sanderson.
Thank you, Mayor. I support anything that's green, and I think this is a great project. I just wonder, after Councillor Leggett mentioned the agricultural land, is zoning going to get in the way? Is it zoned ag potential land? Does anybody know?
I would ask our Director of Community Development, Paul, to address that question, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, Councillor Sanderson. It's possible. I don't have the zoning maps with me, but generally speaking, we allow utilities in most zones anyway, so it may not require a change of zoning to another zone.
All right, and I'm sure that the proponent has looked at that. In terms of allowing grazing animals around them, maybe sheep, but I've seen some of our beef cows up against a tree and they've literally taken the tree down, scratching their backs, so I don't know how the solar panels will stand up to that. But, anyways, I think it's a great project, so thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Then, Council, I'd like your direction. There is a template letter here that we can forward. And I would like your direction on this if someone is prepared to put a motion on the floor. Councillor Cooper.
For motion before we support this project. Is that back the letter?
And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Sanderson. Discussion on the motion? Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Joanna. And Council. The next item on the agenda is a letter received from Greg Muse, Chief, Onslow Belmont Fire Brigade, on September 7. It's requesting the waiving of tipping fees for material from their annual harvest sale and auction, which is coming up this Saturday. And this is something that we have done before. And Council, I would like your direction or a motion. Councillor Benoit, please.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. I would like to make a motion that council waives tipping fees at the bail field. And I'd like to speak on it.
And seconded by Councillor Patton. And Councillor Benoit.
Thank you. I've gone to this the last few years. It's a wonderful social event as well, where residents look forward to it every year while supporting our dedicated volunteer firefighters. They always do their due diligence to pre-sort. It's amazing what they do there. Last year when I was there, the place was packed and people were outside. They get so many donations, and I just think it's a fantastic event that they put on. They even provide lunch for people that are there, so I would like to see this move forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion on the motion? Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. The next item on the correspondence action is a letter dated September 15, 2025, from Eleanor and Roderick Norrie, requesting a variance for PID 203-75473 on Dixon Drive in North River. The recommendation is that this be referred to staff. Councillor Johnson.
I would make a motion that we refer this to staff for public works and planning and come back with a recommendation.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Discussion on the motion?
Question.
Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. The next item is a letter dated September 17, 2025, requesting adoption of a resolution in support of their grid funding program application from Kevin Kennedy, Commissioner and Chair, Village of Bible Hill. And your direction, Council, please. Councillor Weatherby.
I would like to make a motion that we support the Village of Bible Hill and their funding request.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Weatherby, seconded by Councillor Kennedy. Discussion on the motion?
Question.
Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. Thank you. The next item is a letter dated September 18, 2025 to Mayor and Council regarding sponsorship for the 75th anniversary gala of the Colchester East Hants Public Library. This was received from Jeff Mercer, who is the executive director. And the request is there on the document. You will see the amounts for the various financial contributions. What is your direction, Council? Councillor Weatherby.
No?
Your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we grant gold sponsorship, and I'd like to speak on it if we get a second. For $7,500.
7,500, did you say?
Yes.
I'll second that one.
It's been moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Patton. Discussion on the motion.
So the reason I chose gold is that it's either the largest thing here for us. If we're gonna go silver, it's from 7,500 anyway, but I would love to see our logo on the side of that big van that's going around, saying it's showing thousands of people on a regular basis, so that's the reason why it's gold, unless they've got somebody else, but I'm sure they've got more names in front of them on the side of that van. So that's my reason for 7,500.
Thank you. Discussion on the motion? Councillor Cooper.
Just to bring it up, I do know that Village of Bible Hill is not sure what level they did, but they've supported the students, and they've asked the town, I'm not sure what they've done.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Patton.
Oh, thank you, Chair. A few of us went to the 75th anniversary at the Middle Stewiacke celebration yesterday, wasn't it? Yesterday, yeah. And I just want to reiterate the importance of our libraries and what they do for our communities. The events that they hold there outside of just the regular book lending is phenomenal, and I think we need to support in any way we can. So I'm happy to support this.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor. I know Councillor Martel and I certainly feel the same way. We presented a certificate and attended the event in Tatamagouche. And I know that there was an event at each of the library branches that belong to the Colchester East Hants Library. So pleased to see that we did have some councillors attend in Stewiacke as well. Have a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is a letter dated September 18, 2025, regarding the Municipality of East Hants collaborating with Colchester on the Colchester Regional Emergency Management Organization. This letter has been received under the signature of Eleanor Rolston, the Warden of the Municipality of East Hants. And there is some suggestions here, as you will note, but I am looking for your direction. Councillor Weatherby.
I would like to make a motion that we proceed with this and with some shared costs with East Hants. This motion.
Okay, so would you suggest that the CAO be directed to continue discussion with East Hants joining the REMO and okay, and bring back some more information to council perhaps? Okay, any further discussion?
Second.
Oh, I thought I had one. Did I not? Councillor Johnson. Councillor Johnson has seconded the motion. Councillor Weatherby has moved it. All right. Discussion? Any further discussion? Then all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. We had an addendum on table this evening, another action item of correspondence received from Captain James Cripps, Commanding Officer 596, Phoenix Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron. This letter is dated September 22, and it is requesting permission from the municipality to perform a flyby, as well as land in an open field at 405 or 473 Upper River John Road. And your direction, please, Councillor Martel.
I'd like to make a motion and speak to it.
All right, it's been moved by Councillor Martel.
I'd like to make a motion that we grant support of a flyby, as well as the landing in an area in an open field located at 405 or 407 Upper River John Road, as the landowner has already granted its approval to have the helicopter land there for cadet training purposes.
Thank you. Seconder? Seconded by Councillor Fletcher. Discussion on the motion? Councillor Cooper.
You've asked us to, but our liability in this, where do we stand?
I'll ask our CAO to address that, please.
Thank you very much through the chair. So in the past, there's not actually a legal requirement for us to grant. It's typically one of those things where the province says, did you collaborate with the municipal unit or the local body? I'd have to defer to our solicitor with regards to any liability, but it's been a typical courtesy that we would do when we're asked if there's any objections to it.
Thank you. And Dennis, please.
There's nothing by granting permission that would take on any liability. Yeah.
Thank you. And of course, thank you, Councillor, and thank you, Dennis and CAO. There is a letter that would accompany this permission. We have a motion on the floor, Council. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, the question has been called. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion is carried. Thanks. We'll move on to our correspondence information, and again, our reports from the development officer for August 2025 and building inspector permit statistics for August 2025, which are self-explanatory. Does anyone have any questions on any of them? Continue to be positive, and that's wonderful for our municipality. Then I will entertain a motion that those two reports be accepted for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sanderson, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Discussion on the motion? Question has been called. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded nay. The motion is carried. The next information item is a letter dated September 15, 2025, regarding the renaming of the Bass River Bridge from Minister Fred Tilley, Nova Scotia Department of Public Works. And this is to be received for information. And pleased to advise council that the letter that was received and from the municipality and the new Bass River Bridge will be called the Chairmaker Bridge. So very pleased to see that. So that's for information and appreciate that. Moving into our information items, the first information item is an update on regional public transit feasibility study. And I'm who am I going to, would you like to, I have two people here that can address this, Joanna or Paul? Will you be, Joanna, would you come back to the microphone, please, and address the regional public transit feasibility study. If anyone has any questions, this is a fairly significant information item. It's something that we've been working on for quite some time. Does anyone have any questions with regards to this information item? Councillor Leggett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through to Joanna. I guess I'm a bit perplexed as to why Valley was shut out of the review.
Joanna, please.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, through Councillor. That was part of our discussion. Staff had sort of similar concerns, but for the first phase, like the first time we implement transit, we were trying not to spread it too thin, and every additional community that we add adds another cost. So we were looking at trying to serve the largest number. Yeah, and also looking at areas where residents would be less likely, where more residents that are less likely to have a vehicle and other factors like that. Ideally, eventually, we'd be able to serve more of Central Colchester, including Valley, but this is a starting point.
Any further questions? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor, through you, Joanna. I read in there where we're possibly looking at purchasing the buses from HRM. My question is, why would you do that? Buying something used like that? We don't have garages to service them, and what the expenses go with it. What's your thoughts? And I want to know why they decided to make a
Yeah, through the chair to you, Councillor. So the buses from Halifax Transit would be donated at no cost. That's the only reason that we're looking at them. Receiving donated buses from Halifax Transit, even if they require a bit of initial repair, would significantly reduce upfront capital costs of the project and allow us to get buses on the road sooner. Ultimately, our goal would be to have low emission or zero emission vehicles. And if we were to have donated diesel buses, we could use them in the meantime and then switch them out as we kind of allocate capital to purchase new fleet vehicles.
If I may follow up?
Yes, of course.
So I'm reading the report. One of the most important things is timely service. That people know so they're given time. How are we going to do that with new buses? I think that we have to go with something fairly new that is consistent, not breaking down, not going for repairs. That's important if we're going to initially start something here in this county as far as transportation goes. I think we need to be buying a new product, something that has full warranties on it, and something else. Not going to have problems like down the road. We bought stuff before you. I bought stuff to use. It just doesn't work out that way. So if that's the reason we're getting into it, because it's less money to get into the program, I don't think that's what we should be looking at. I think we've got to cost in the price of new buses and work that in the program and that way we're at.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Chair. Joanna, I might have missed this in the write-up that we have, but does it mean that a bus traveling to Tatamagouche would make that one stop in Tatamagouche, or is it going to stop in communities on the way, like maybe North River or further out, Earltown?
Yeah, through the chair to you, Councillor. That would be the idea, that it would definitely identified Earltown already. We haven't identified every stop so far where it would stop, but it would also make stops along the way. Yeah. The divert shuttle, so like the workforce shuttle is a bit different. It's intended to be an express shuttle, so it's quick, gets people from town to divert and back. So it's designed not to make stops along the way, or at least not many stops, but the rural routes up to Tatamagouche, Fox River, and down to Stewiacke would make stops along the way.
Thank you. Councillor Cooper.
Yeah, thank you. A few questions. What is the proposed fee for people to use it? Second off.
Through the chair, not yet, no. We haven't gotten the research back from our consultant on that aspect of it yet. But we did get some feedback during the community engagement, lots of feedback from the public that it does need to be affordable, kind of as low as possible. So we'll be taking that feedback into consideration, but we don't have the numbers yet.
How is it supposed to be financed? What's the thoughts?
There's the capital financing and then the operating financing. So for capital, if we're purchasing new low emission buses, we'd be applying for federal funding, likely through FCM, for a substantial part of the capital costs. And then the Colchester and the town in Millbrook First Nation, if they want to be a partner, would pay the remaining amount. The operating budget would be financed, or the operating costs would be financed through our operating budget. And I guess Scott will figure out where exactly that would come from. But it would be split between the municipalities. And it would likely or possibly have to add like a reserve tax. So for areas that are serviced by transit, you might want to consider adding a tax.
Yeah, that was an obvious question by me because my area is not part of this. So, yeah. Anyway, go there. What is it FCM? Ottawa. So I went on a tour about regional transit. And one of the things that they developed that are electric vehicles they're using was to have almost like you think of when kids have those little bus stops. Everybody comes to get on the bus. They have those in communities. Everybody went to those sort of thing. So those little bus right there, parked there every day, went to pick people up around that area. And the main line, a big bus, through picked up everybody from that sort of thing. I don't know if that's not good or not. I don't know if they could be more feasible there because they got more population. Sure. But, yeah. It's a concept to cover the regional sort of aspect of it. Anyway,
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor Sanderson.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. Thank you for this update, Joanne. That's great news that sounds like we're making some progress. CTCL indicates in the report that they are at capacity and often having to turn down requests. But once something like this gets up and running, has that organization expressed concern about competition that potentially could affect their bottom line?
Through Madam Chair to you, Councillor. I don't think so. We engaged with them, like we had stakeholder meetings with them in the spring. I think the consultant may have even met with them since. And we may plan to meet with them again. We haven't heard any concerns. They spend a lot of their time doing sort of workplace trips. Like they do a bit of a commuter route for Steps on Arthur, and I think at least one other workplace, and the fixed route service would be able to replace that effectively and allow them to do more on-demand service. And they're also taking they're doing hospital trips for the health authority. So that takes up a considerable amount of their time too. So if we can get people in the center, their urban core, the hospital using fixed routes, then they can focus on serving the more.
No, that's good. So they see it as complementary.
I believe so. I wasn't part of that
Yeah.
conversation with them in the spring, but I don't think they see it as competition.
Thank you.
Counselor Benoit.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. Thank you, Joanna, and I think this is great, and I think it will be complimentary. I was speaking to a couple of seniors that have trouble getting to Truro, especially on the weekends. There's nothing around. CTCL, I don't think runs on the weekends. I don't believe, or according to them. And so they have a hard time getting to and from places. So I think if we can add this service as well, it would be beneficial. So thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Well, this is Paul?
I just want to
Yes.
sort of finish off with a comment that really need to emphasize that this is at a very conceptual level at this point. There are a lot of details we worked out in terms of how this is going to be financed, the routes where they occur, the stops, and the sort of fleet that we may decide on. So that'll be informed by some successive community engagement pieces that will take these concepts. And it was one of the fears we had in sort of developing maps that showed routes, and because they're not fixed in any way, they just help to illustrate the fact the differences between coverage and frequency. And a lot of those details will be worked out as we meet with the variety of stakeholders and follow-up meetings over the next couple of months to sort of figure out that path forward and arrive at what we think is a practical solution towards our public transit needs.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you, Joanna. This information item gives us an idea of where we are at this point in time, and recognizing that there still is a lot of work to do, but you've done a tremendous amount of work up to this point. And I know that, as Paul said, there would be more public consultation. That's usually the way we handle things here in Colchester County. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. The next item is a memo from our solicitor with an overview of the dangerous and unsightly process. And I'm going to ask Dennis if he's available, if anyone has any questions on this process. It's something that we have been doing for a number of years. Years ago, the council, we used to do dangerous and unsightly premise issues at council meetings and council of the day. Said the committee that would be formed of councillors would be the body that would handle that responsibility. So these issues do not come before council as appeals or whatever. Dennis, please.
Happy to answer any questions because there was a significant change of membership and not every councillor has been through it. CEO, I thought it would be useful to have something just to give you a schematic of what happens in the complaint process. So that's pen A. This gives you a bit of a diagram on what happens. This is governed both by the language of the MGA and the authority of the MGA, and also the bylaw that was approved in 2023 and last amended in 2024. Just updated some stats. Most of the work of the appeal committee is demolition because the administrator can't order demolitions by virtue of the MGA. There's very few appeals, as you can see, of the administrator's non-demolition orders. So those are largely handled by staff. The rest are demolitions. I don't recall that I think every demolition that's come to the committee has been approved. It's just been negotiating with the owners just a time. And that really depends on resources. Some people come in, there's a couple currently before appeals that huge properties and a lot to think about in terms of their ability. That most people want time to do it themselves. some people don't show up and the orders are granted. But by and large, the committee's got a good sense. I know those who were on the committee before and also the new members are getting a sense of the issues, and mostly they're either, some people are indifferent, some people say I should get around with it, some of them come with really difficult circumstances, and so the process on Appendix A is really just two streams: demolition, no demolition. If it's demolition, the staff, the administrator brings it to the committee to consider. If it's non-demolition, it only comes to the committee on appeal. We give 7 days to file, and one of the things so typically at the beginning, the administrator will give 30 days. So if someone complains, it's deemed to be unsightly, they'll be given 30 days. If they're a repeat offender, one of the things the bylaw did was give the administrator direction to shorten that period of time. So it can be as short as 7 days. We don't do it shorter than 7 days because we allow for an appeal period. And you have to allow for that appeal period. So, and that's Councillor Legwood is asking whether that's business days or calendar days. It's calendar days. So if someone gets an order, they have to get an appeal in quickly. And if it ends without an appeal, or it goes to appeal and it deals with it, it doesn't go anywhere else, and it goes down to the courthouse after that. There's no appeal to this council. And as the mayor referred to, that was a decision back in the day of the Daily News, and people used to come and put on a show and see if they could get the headlines on the next day of the Daily News, contesting the oppressive nature of council and tearing down their properties, which is really one of the motivations of getting off council committee agenda at the time. So I think the system is efficient. It's fair. It was recently tested on judicial review on a property on Guest Drive, and it was, judge found the process to be reasonable, and the actions of the staff and the committee's decision to be grounded or reasonably grounded. So.
Does anyone have any questions with regards to the process of our dangerous and unsightly and under the appeals committee?
Just one last comment, Mayor,
Yes.
if I may. Councillors can file complaints. If you're on the committee and you file a complaint, you can't do the hearing. And sometimes, as Councillor Patton pointed out earlier, these are confidential. There's no need for people to come forward because staff make the determination. But sometimes neighborhoods are tough and people are intimidated. And that certainly was the case in Guest Drive for a long time. So it was left to councillors to really put their in, but again, even that's confidential because it's really irrelevant. At the end of the day, it's what Mike or his staff did to be dangerous or unsightly.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Councillor Cooper.
A couple of things, referring to what Dennis has said, I'd like to just make a little comment there too, that councillors decide to take that upon themselves to make sure that you're aware of community dynamics and neighborhood dynamics, and things like that, because sometimes you can get a suggestion or somebody to do it, that you find out you're going against what real wishes of the neighborhood are. So just make sure everything is before you start filing things that pass other people. That's why it was put that people do it, because they're taking responsibility for it. So the other question I had was to go through you, Dennis.
Yes, of course.
You had options at the bottom of your desk. We supposed to deal with those tonight, or can we deal with those tonight, or what's your thoughts there?
I didn't think I gave you options. I think there
made that mistake.
No, the options are in older memos that I attached just for information purposes.
2022.
Yeah. I was thinking, I lost my mind if I gave council any more options on dangerous and unsightly. This was just purely informational, mostly for a refresher of those who haven't dealt with it, or for the newer council members who haven't been through the process.
Any further comments or questions? Councillor Benmont.
Thank you, Mayor Blair. Through you to Dennis, just to clarify though, if you do, if there is a complaint put through, it is confidential, but if it does go through the court process, it may not be completely confidential.
No, it's unlike the situation with the bylaw generally, because the base decision is still either the administrators or the committees. And if the person who complained doesn't come forward and give evidence, remember, it's the staff that give the evidence, right? So someone may come forward, but that's their choice. But if a complaint's confidential and the administrator makes a finding that's dangerous and unsightly, and then it goes to the appeals committee and that's upheld, the court only looks at the information that was before the committee. You don't bring in new evidence in court. It's only based on the decision of the committee and what was before the committee. So if the only evidence on unsightly was the pictures and the presentation of staff, that's all the court would ever see.
And the person that makes a complaint
Doesn't have to come forward. It's basically on the staff. They can come forward, and in the guest drive cases, they were absolutely part of it and gave evidence. But it's the committee that ultimately makes a decision. And so judicial review, through you, Mayor, the judicial review is different than a hearing. Judicial review says what was before the committee. Is there a basis, a reasonableness? So you don't get new evidence there. You don't have to call witnesses to prove it. You only go in and say, based on these photographs, based on this recommendation of staff, the committee looked at it, heard evidence from everybody who came forward and assessed. So it's the decision that gets reviewed. And that's all that goes before the court in judicial review.
Okay, I'll have a conversation with you afterwards.
Okay.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Actually, as Dennis stated, once the complaint comes in, the person who issues the complaint is confidential. But there's no way that any committee or any organization can stop the individual who issues the complaint from self-disclosing.
Oh, most definitely. I
So
understand.
that's something that has happened.
I know, I understand that. Thank you.
But from our perspective, confidential, totally. Agree to that?
Yes. And the courts, even in some of the decisions, they recognize that it's a confidential process. I think every municipality does the same thing.
Councillor Cooper, one last thing on this?
You, Dennis, is one thing. So if somebody, I'm not on the committee right now, but if I was on the committee, I put in a complaint. They will know I put in because I have to recuse myself in the committee.
Dennis?
So
No,
yeah,
just maybe you just don't show up at the meeting.
okay. So yeah, so it's not stated that.
No,
Oh, okay.
you're just absent.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are at the meeting, and you know you're gonna refuse, this happened recently, we just the committee member could only attend for the first couple items and it was just recorded that the committee left the meeting.
Any further questions, comments? No? Thank you very much, Dennis. It's always appreciated to have these reviews. The next item on the agenda is a report from council members, and as you can see, we are in one of our busiest times of year in the fall, where we are now everyone is there are a lot of conferences and events, and and you can see from our reports how very busy we are. It's hard to believe that we will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary in exactly a month's time. Our CAO did send out a reminder of the responsibilities of councillors to the committee or to the council. And that's always good to have at the 1 year, to have some of these reviews. Did you want to address that, or are we going to continue on? I guess what needed to be said was said. So there are a lot of meetings and things. So does anyone have any questions on any of the events or things that places that people went. Appreciate the minutes of your Northern Waste being attached. Councillor Weatherby, that gives us an overview of what happens in that group. Any questions? Well, I thank you all and thank you all for your dedication and to the community. I don't usually put any of my emails or visits or meetings that are in-house or anything like that on my report. But I know others do and appreciate that. So, thank you. The next item was an addition to the agenda. Councillor Patton, you want to address the 2025 stampede.
Yes, Chair, thank you. The 2025 Stampede was held, as we all know, last weekend. Phenomenal event for this area. 25,000 plus people visiting daily to those grounds. It was just incredible. So I just wanted to congratulate the organizers, the sponsors, the volunteers, the participants, of course, the rec staff. The people I met over the weekend from the UK, Newfoundland, all over the world came to our Nova Scotia Stampede. So it was really an enormous event that I don't think we've seen that size here in a long, long time. So I was excited to be there and welcome those folks.
Thank you. And of course, being the owners of the rec and responsible for the rec and financing that facility and giving permission for this event to happen at the Nova Scotia Provincial Exhibition Grounds, our municipality, of course, is 100% behind events that happen in our community. We recognize the economic spin-off and the benefit it is to our community. Councillor Cooper.
Yeah, just add to that, talked to 2 or 3 people that moved here from Alberta. And they've made some comments about how good it is. They said they laugh a lot because of we don't have that stampede mentality. And they brought one thing up about when if you're out at the Calgary one, if the bull comes out and it's looking at you, everybody stays still.
Yeah.
Downhill, we run around. Track the bull. So they think that'll cover the high. But they found this excellent set. And tell everybody congratulations and it'll do well in years to come.
Absolutely.
Heard that.
Yes, they'll stop running around Councillor Cooper when the bull wins.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's wonderful. And it was an amazing event. I know there was a lot of traffic around and I had the privilege over and above other events to attend as well. The next item is to go in camera, and I'm prepared to entertain a motion that we go in camera. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Richardson. We are now in camera. We'll take a 10-minute break.
There we go.